Hi everyone, thank y'all for joining me again. Today is a super exciting day because I am starting on the Backsplash. When I say super exciting, I also mean kind of not. Just because I'm not looking forward to doing the Backsplash whatsoever, and the reason for that is because it literally took me forever to do the Backsplash at the other flip house. And so this is only my second time of doing a Backsplash ever, aside from that one. And I just don't know how long it's gonna take me. It might take me all day. It might take me a couple hours. I don't know. We're just gonna kind of go with it and see. In addition to all that, I chose like a different type of tile, like a design in the tile, which is not like a crazy design or anything like that, but it's just not the like simple subway tiles that I did at the other house. So a little bit worried that I'm not gonna get like the measurements correct and everything, but we're just going with the flow, people. We'll see how it turns out. Also didn't mention that you guys are finally gonna get to see the cabinet colors. Super excited about that. All right, are you ready to see the cabinet colors? Oh. Yay. Okay, so if you guessed green, you guessed correctly. Those are the cabinet colors. I chose this dark green. We'll just get into that later in another video, I'm sure, because today is all about the Backsplash. I got this little tile cutter and I use this to cut like my floor tiles, and I'm hoping that it'll work all right on the Backsplash. This is the Backsplash that I chose. I just got it at Lowe's, and I'm gonna be backsplashing this whole area from here all the way to the end of this cabinet. I got two trowels. One is this like little square trowel, and I got this because whenever I am like spreading the adhesive on the back, it's kind of difficult to use this whole thing like underneath the Backsplash. Sometimes it doesn't, you know, it's just harder to use. So this is a little bit smaller and I can kind of get into like corners a lot easier, etc. etc. is what I meant. I got my adhesive right here, and I've already measured out like the halfway point of my wall so that I can have a starting point, and I'm gonna measure a couple other things, but for now, I'm just gonna kind of get started. Like I said, I'm just going with the flow here. And then I'm like really hoping it turns out all right. Okay, I'm hoping this is all right. So this is a tile sheet, so it has netting on the back that keeps all of these tiles in place. So whenever you cut it, you have to cut the netting as well. So I'll just go through with my box cutter and slice that off. And then I have a cut. So this was my first cut. You can see it's not near as straight as the second one was. That one was a lot cleaner. I'm not sure what I was doing wrong there. But let's just see if this fits. Yay. All right, so it fits literally perfectly. I'm gonna put the like crooked edge on the top because once this is all caulked, you're really not going to be able to see, and the bottom, like the straight edge on the bottom. So now this is my center point right here. I'm going to measure this tile sheet and get the center of one of these, probably this one right here, and then just line that up with my middle piece. Actually, it's already lined up. I'll have to mark it on my board. But I'll line that up and that will be my starting piece. And then I'll just continue this pattern and it should be even on both ends then. Sorry, it's super dark in this corner because the window light is like directly in our face, but my first piece is up. It looks great. One thing to note when you're doing any type of tile work, to be honest, is that the adhesive comes through these joints right here, and that causes lots of problems. So when it dries, it's really hard to get out of there without having to just scrape it out. And so if you have something to go ahead and scrape those out while the adhesive is still wet, that helps a lot because it will come through your grout. Like when you grout it, it's not gonna cover it, right? But what I like to do is try to do like not a whole ton of glue on the back, because then it's not really gonna come up through as evidently. Like these, I'm not gonna have to worry about, whereas like down here, I'm gonna have to scrape all that out so that my grout will not show. It won't show through my grout.
So originally under the window, I was trying to cut the sheet as a whole and apply it that way. And then I realized that that was going to be way too difficult because the floor's not level. So, you know, my entire sheet was going to have to be cut a specific way in order to fit. And it was just too difficult. So I decided to cut the tiles out of the sheet and kind of like in these strips. And it was way easier to apply it that way. So just keep in mind that just because you buy these, you know, in sheets doesn't mean that you can't cut them out and manipulate them the way that you need them to work.
Okie dokie. So this is what I got done today. Let me see. When did I start? I don't know. This probably took me a couple hours, I would think. Maybe 2.5 hours. All of these ones that are missing, like right here and stuff, are gonna have to be cut with the a tile saw or a grinder. So that's why they're not up there yet, but actually it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I'm gonna come and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and be done for today, and I'm gonna come and do this wall tomorrow or later this week. And this wall should be super easy and should not take me long, hopefully. Yay, it looks so good.
And I guess I should address like the obvious, which you may or may not have even noticed throughout this video, is I'm not actually using tile spacers. And that's just a personal preference of mine. I don't like to use tile spacers when I'm doing a backsplash. I learned that with the last backsplash I did. To me, it just seems a little bit obvious where the spacer is at because it tends to be wider than what it is actually on the sheet. So I prefer to eyeball it, but again, that's just my preference. And also, sorry that this video is out of focus. I didn't even notice until I was watching this back. But now I'm just grouting the tile, and you can kind of see in this clip that I did border it with a bullnose tile, and that just gives it a little bit more of a professional finish. One thing I want to note here is that I'm using unsanded grout, which is really important. I just prefer the look of unsanded grout better than sanded grout. Sanded grout can be a little bit gritty, obviously, because it has sand in it, and it gives it like a more rough finish, and which is great for tile, but for me, I just don't like it on the wall. So I use unsanded grout, which gives it a much smoother finish, and I just like it a lot better. In addition to that, since sanded grout is a little bit gritty, usually like your wall tile is going to have a pretty thin grout line, and it can be a little bit difficult to get sanded grout to fit into those grout lines when you're smoothing it out. And unsanded grout is a little bit more powdery and softer like, and it's just a lot easier to smooth into those grout lines opposed to a sanded grout. So after I'm done grouting, I'll wait about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll go back in with a damp sponge and wipe it all clean. And this is a really tedious job. You're gonna have to clean your sponge a million times that day, but it is pretty satisfying because then you get to see the final product. So I am officially done with the backsplash. It looks phenomenal. I am super happy with it. I think I did a way better job this time around than the first time around. And now I just need to get my plumber to install the faucets in the sink and the kitchen. I've got to clean up and do a couple other things, but other than that, I think we're pretty much done with the kitchen. Yes, I'm so happy. So after I finished the backsplash, I wanted to go ahead and finish off the countertops, which obviously we're using butcher block again. And so here I'm just using a fine grit sandpaper, and I'm going over it quickly to get out any scratches or dents that may have gotten there while we were working on the house. And after sanding, I will just cover it in a butcher block oil, which you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot. I think they even have it at Walmart. And this is basically just a finish for the butcher block, and it also protects the butcher block. So wood, you know, absorbs oils and juices and all sorts of liquids, and so that's kind of what we're trying to prevent here. Is if we oil it first, then it will kind of block anything else that could potentially soak into the butcher block. And this is actually going to be the end of our video today. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if y'all like the cabinet colors or if you think I'm psycho like my husband did. I do have some other videos coming soon, so stay tuned for those. Make sure you like, and also please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Thank y'all so much for watching. As always, I will see y'all soon.